How did you get to where you are today? Focused and self-driven. You get from challenge to result without being managed. Why is it then that so many employees need a process or a person to get them going? During recruitment, they talk the talk, but when given the opportunity to perform, at the first roadblock they face, they seem confused, stuck and clueless. They start to blame others, or they demand more, or they frame and nail others, especially pointing fingers at their employer who gave them the income opportunity in the first place. You've seen this scenario time and time again. Clearly something is wrong, very wrong. So what do you think? Did you assume that everyone thinks like you? Why are you so different? Let's turn to the working of the brain to find some answers. We know the brain continuously changes and makes new connections based on external stimuli and experiences. The human brain, at any age, has about 1 billion neurons. An adult has about 300 trillion synapses, while the brain of a child has a staggering quadrillion synapses. At birth, these connections aren't developed yet, so your brain immediately gets occupied with the task of making the connections that form the architecture of your brain. The cry of a baby, the reaction to a feeling of hunger or cold, an unknown sound or an unknown face. The brain, specifically the primitive brain, reacts in order to protect and preserve. But as the brain develops new connections, the higher brain comes into play, interpreting the situation based on previous experiences. The unknown becomes the known. React becomes respond. And so then starts the process of developing intelligence in all spheres of life. Intelligence that reaches much further than IQ. From that first moment on, the brain starts to develop the encompassing intelligence called occupational intelligence. OI will determine your ability to respond to every challenge you will face in the future. The unknown outcome of a challenge creates anxiety, and your discomfort demands an action to return to a place of comfort. A challenge can have positive or negative consequences. A positive outcome can be achieved if a just right challenge is posed. A just right challenge is scientifically the ideal catalyst that stretches a person out of a place of comfort. Since success is within reach, the platform is set for successful task completion. The moment a challenge is overcome and accomplished, the brain releases happy hormones. This feeling of "I can do it" generates power, the volition you need to tackle the next just right challenge. Volition will propel you through difficult and unpleasant obstacles, even to the point where the enjoyment of the task is submissive to completion of the task. Successful task completion builds self-confidence and instills internal locus of control. Individuals living in a stimulating and affirming parenting and educational environment with lots of just right challenges will inevitably have an I can perceived competence and higher volition without even knowing how they developed it. However, there are two scenarios in the workplace where challenges have a negative effect. When presented with a task that presents too slight a challenge, either the person's ego feels wounded and takes offense, or the person experiences boredom, resulting in the naughty child syndrome in the workplace and the abuse of opportunities for self-benefit on your account. When presented with an out-of-reach challenge, the brain is unable to build the bridge from challenge to task completion. Anxiety sets in, and when anxiety goes up, volition comes down. The feeling of "I can't" sets in, and the brain feels threatened and releases stress hormones. The primitive brain reacts to protect and preserve the person's ego, thus leading to the fight or flight response. Because the brain does not have the ability to respond, responsibility is shifted to external locus of control. A person in this state does not have the ability to build momentum, even when externally motivated or threatened. Bailing them out worsens the situation because it doesn't address the problem, but merely creates a deeper external locus of control and dependency. The unavoidable regression of dependency is a sense of entitlement. You must give because I can't. Can you identify low OI behavior in the world around you? So what do you do when academic qualifications, a CV or work portfolio, and a job interview is no guarantee of employing people with successful task-related responsiveness? You need to think differently. A2B transformation is your ideal power partner. Whilst you're driving the bottom line, the A2B operating system drives occupational intelligence development in your organization so that your people really are your greatest asset. We know that volition is an intellectual energy generated by the inner components of the mind. We also know that these components combine holistically to create a unique collective response to challenges. A2B measures the response on the OI scale and engineer the working environment to become the ideal ecosystem for occupational intelligence growth. The OI scale measures an individual's OI in a specific task. It is important to understand that different people are on different OI levels on different tasks. Let's have a look at how A2B can determine whether an employee performs at the level his job requires of him. This example is based on an actual real-life assessment. Employee X works at a pottery factory. There are 37 different tasks in the pottery factory. His job description does not require of him to be highly competent in all of these tasks. For the remuneration he earns, he is expected to respond as high as the grey line on the graph. In 9 of the tasks, he only needs to respond on level 1. These are 16 tasks that he needs to perform at level 5 to 7. His response in these tasks needs to be accurate. Failure to perform correctly will deem a loss to the company, even damaging the image of the brand. The A2B assessment clearly indicates that he is not responding on the required level of responsiveness on 24 of the tasks. In 12 of the tasks, he critically underperforms. A2B teaches the employee all the components of the brain and how to determine what blocks responsiveness and how to get unstuck. A2B offers personal optimization toolkits to assist employees to self-correct and take ownership of their process of change. Higher OI implies your collective staff possesses the total skill set required to run the workplace like an oiled machine, delivering on the norms and standards of the job role. This video offers a glimpse into the workings of the new intelligence required in the 4th Industrial Revolution, namely occupational intelligence. The A2B transformation movement is there to assist you to empower your labor force by implementing organizational operating systems designed to perpetually drive humans from A to B levels. Optimize human responsiveness in the workplace, ensuring responsibility. Become OI Smart.